What's going on, everybody? Josh or Miho here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the debut album from the band Imprecation, entitled Satanae Tenebris Infinita. This is released on Dark Descent Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Houston, Texas, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very brooding, ominous, an overall destructive style of death metal mixed with some black metal elements thrown in there to create an overall blackened death metal kind of atmosphere. Yeah, these guys are legends when it comes to the metal underground, preferably for the first three releases that they've came out with. 2 demos and an EP, the legendary Ceremony of the Nine Angles EP demo, the Sigil of Baphomet EP, and their 1994 promo. Of course, for those who missed out on it, it was released as a compilation in 1995 called Theurgia Goetia Sama. This, of course, is the Death Rune Records Digipack reissue, but it has all of the first 3 demos. And of course, every song that was included on those respective releases were absolute classics. Very crushing death metal, very dark, very ominous, very heavy and Latin in riffs, and delivered some incredible musicianship, awesome lyrics, powerful vocals, and just a whole lot of amazing stuff to be heard on those releases. Then after that, things decided to cool down just a little bit, and Imprecation was on a bit of a hiatus of sorts for a long time. Band members had other projects to be involved with, and so on and so forth. Then I want to say around 2009-2010, the spark reignited in Imprecation's ball, and they came out with some more new releases. A 7-inch called Sigil of Lucifer, which I thought was amazing. And of course, in 2012, one of my favorite demo releases of last year, the Jehovah Denied demo, featuring some songs that would later soon be appearing on the debut album, which I will speak of in just a moment. But wow, this demo was amazing, and seeing some of these songs played live was just absolutely crushing. I loved it, and I could not wait until I got my hands on the debut full-length from this band. Now, all the classic demos, releases, live shows, and everything else later, we now have the very first official appropriate full-length from this band entitled Satanae Tenebris Infinita. It's 9 tracks, and it clocks in at around 40 minutes in length. And honestly, this is what I look for and love the most about death metal. Just everything in its most purest, evilest form is here with this debut. And this pretty much is sitting high atop my top 20 list for this year. This is my album of the year, bar none, by far, and I'm very happy and excited to finally own this, listen to this, and hear it all the way through for what it is. It is just so crushing. And the guitar work that's on this album is definitely the main thing that makes this album so powerful. I mean, the riff work just destroys you. I mean, from the opening track, Blood Dominion, to From Beyond the Fiery Temples, just the guitar work on those songs alone are just powerful. You hear that almost brooding Onward to Golgotha, Mortal Throne of Nazarene era incantation kind of feeling on those guitar riffs. It's just disgusting how very well played and executed the guitar work here is on this album. And even some of the more maniacal and chaotic solo work. The solo work on this album is definitely something to behold. I mean, it isn't solo work that's meant to be flashy. It's meant to enhance this album's atmosphere and invoke fear in the listener. And that's what these guitar riffs do. It's very crazed and chaotic, and I love that. Bass-wise, I think it's a very good bass tone. Definitely sets the mood right for what's being executed with this album. Very audible and clear. It blends in with the guitar very perfectly. It isn't overbearing or overpowering. It's just right, and it definitely suits this album's mood and atmosphere very well. Drum-wise, the drums have a very clean and natural feeling to them. These drums don't feel over-processed or over-triggered. This isn't any clean or overly polished kind of death metal drumming. This is how this style best suits it. And on this debut album, the drums are just brilliant. I just love Ruben's drum performance here. It can range from very slow and almost doomish. Like, take the track Chapel of Rotting Flesh. It starts off very methodical and slowly, but then the anticipation begins to rise. The kicks and snares begin to make themselves very well evidented. The double bass, the blast beats that you hear spread out throughout the entire release. It's just amazing. Very dynamic drum performance. And I should mention the one thing that definitely makes this album somewhat stand out amongst everything else, and that is the keyboards. You would think that keyboards wouldn't work in this kind of style of death metal, but for Imprecation, it works perfectly. It definitely suits the mood and enhances everything. Like From Beyond the Fiery Temples, Angels of Salvation's Doom, to even the Coils of Eden. That is just some incredibly domineering keyboard work, and it definitely is very frightening and very fearful. It definitely makes this album's vibe work so well. I love that about the keyboard work here. And vocal-wise, David's vocals are fantastic. He is an amazing frontman. Very powerful, very gritty, very venomous. And he definitely showcases that within his vocals and his lyric writing. He has some great lyrics to be heard, especially on the tracks Hosanna ex Inferis. There's some definite great songwriting going on with that track, and going back to Chapel of Rotting Flesh, just some amazing lyrical content to be heard on those tracks. It's amazing the way he delivers his vocals. Very powerful, very rough, very destructive. You can understand everything he says, but his delivery is just flawless in my opinion. So overall, if you are a fan of old school death metal or anything within the death metal underground, if you've been a fan of Imprecations, demos, and anything else since then, this is validation. This album is pure validation and is definitely one of the very best pieces of pure death metal to be heard in 2013, and I definitely recommend this to anyone who is a fan of old school death metal, traditional death metal, hell, death metal as a whole. It doesn't matter what kind of death metal it is. This is the real deal. Imprecation are for real. If I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say From Beyond the Fiery Temples, Hosanna ex Inferis, Angel of Salvation's Doom, The Coils of Eden, Chapel of Rotting Flesh, and Rancid Blood on Blackened Thorns. Even the closing instrumental, Carrion Winds of Golgotha. Brilliant closer to an already amazing album. So links will be in the description box to the Dark Descent Records Bandcamp, where you can stream this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, be your own judge, buy it digitally if you want to. Also to the Dark Descent store, where you can buy the CD, the 12-inch LP. I know those are going to be running out very quickly, so if you're a vinyl lover, get the vinyl of that. I have the red vinyl. Also the shirts as well. If you don't own an Imprecation shirt, definitely make your efforts to do so. So I'm going to show you the album again. This is Satanae Tenebris Infinita by Imprecation. This is released on Dark Descent Records. Mandatory purchasing, and I'm going to give this the highest score I can possibly give, and that is a perfect 10 out of 10. This is sensational death metal as it ever is and should be. Support Imprecation. Hail the Texas Metal Underground. I'm going to conclude this video. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, Armijo out.